This is my preliminary report on Pushpak's case number 626 as part of our MIE irrigation study using enhanced irrigation devices. I was blinded as to what device was used. If you're part of the MIE group and following on Google Drive, it's case number 626. When you select case number 626 and go to the SEM folder, you'll find that it's divided into specific locations with specific numbered areas. If you pick any numbered area, the images for that area are listed. We did this to make it easier to navigate all the different areas. This is Pushpak's pre-op radiograph. I took angled radiographs when I got the tooth, and it looked like there was just one foramen with both the mesial and distal canals combined at the terminus. This makes sagittally section in the tooth much more difficult. The only information I had was that it was an MIE instrumentation approach with some advanced irrigation technology used. These are pictures of the tooth as I got it. We decided to slice the tooth in two halves and then image the centerpiece on both sides, the distal half and mesial half. So it's important to understand how the tooth was sliced and imaged. This is the mesial half of the center slice with the MB and ML. There's a distal canal on the distal side of the root. Now we opened it up and I looked at the apical area. There was this debris in the apex, and I don't know if that was just from the slicing and sectioning. So for right now, I'm just going to ignore that area and look at all the other areas where I know there wasn't any slicing debris. And when you go into this area, you can see perhaps some instrumentation debris and a fairly robust predentin and minor smear layer present. And when you go into this, you can actually see the mineralization front under the predentin partially mineralized layer. There may be some instrumentation debris here, but no evidence of any pulp whatsoever. And if you think about what it is you're actually looking at, you're looking at partially mineralized tissue above the mineralization front as covered in our prior tutorials. This outtake from the mineralization tutorial should give you some perspective on what you're looking at. You're looking at the predentin area at the mineralization front with the calcifications and partial mineralization of the predentin, as well as all the tissues of the odontoblastic layer and the tissues immediately adjacent to that layer. So you're looking at the mineralization or partial mineralization of the predentin along with the smear and debris caused by the instrumentation. Having looked at many of these, it doesn't really look to me like there's much instrumentation debris at all. This is almost all predentin above the mineralization front. When you refine your pattern recognition and understand this is partially mineralized smear layer, it will get easier for you. For example, in this one near one of the lateral canals in the distal root is a classic picture of partially mineralized predentin with apparent mineralization front underneath. And I want you to particularly look at is this area of demineralization occurring just above the mineralization front. And it gives a very similar appearance to a biofilm. So it's important you recognize that when predentin demineralizes, it can masquerade as a bacterial biofilm with bacterial morphotypes. But these are not bacteria. This is how demineralization of the predentin actually looks like. I've labeled all the areas by numbers, and they're all in their separate folders. So I urge you to go in and look at each area, and if you can refine your pattern recognition, then you will have made progress. Here you see an area where there's a smear layer, number 6. Another area, number 4, where it doesn't look like there's any smear. And then another area, number 5, where it is clear no instrumentation has occurred at all. The areas near the accessory canal look to be devoid of smear or instrumentation debris, just the naked canal wall. Again, looking closely, one can observe the demineralizing effect of the irrigants and the biofilm-like appearance of demineralizing dentin, but it is only the collagen that is being slowly demineralized. In area 5, where no instrument has contacted the canal wall, you get a very good view of the calcospheroids of the predentin in all their glory. As you should be able to tell, the canal wall is exceptionally well debrided, and there's some significant demineralization going on in the collagen structure of the mineralization front. Look at each of these areas and see if you can't refine your pattern recognition, because there's various states of demineralization going on here. You should be able to tell that the peritubular dentin is completely gone, and the collagenous structure of the dentinal tubule is fully evident in all of these sections. And there's quite a bit of dentinal erosion, actually, of the mineralization front. So when you go into these areas, it will really help your pattern recognition by understanding what it is that you're actually looking at. I will create a final report of the findings when Pushpak populates the clinical folder and ends the suspense on what device he used, and then we can have a further discussion of this very interesting case.